In 2017, a movie based on a true story goes viral across the internet immediately upon release. Countless movie fans hail it as the pinnacle of domestic mystery films, and the massive plot twist at the end elevates this film to legendary status. The killer never shows his face once, yet it leaves viewers deeply terrified and unable to move on for a long time. On a morning in 1997, a deceased victim is found in a small-town wasteland. The detective captain leads a team to investigate. Since they are short-handed, a man known as a master detective is called in to help. He rushes over right after hanging up the phone, but his car breaks down on the road.
好，来，你可以回去了。没耽误事儿吧？要不是人手不够，就不会让你们过来。需要我们怎么配合？你就在这儿，别让其他人进入现场。
Although he is only maintaining order at the scene, it is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for him. Joining the detective team is his lifelong dream. So while the captain is not paying attention, the man secretly takes photos of the body. This makes it easy for him to track down the killer later. But due to the continuous heavy rain, no valuable clues are found at the scene. An autopsy reveals that the victim endured extreme trauma before death. There are marks on the head from being struck by a heavy object. The entire body is covered in knife wounds. The wound on the carotid artery is the exact cause of death. Even the experienced captain finds himself in a tough spot. The modus operandi is exactly the same as the previous two tragic incidents. He can only investigate step by step, starting with the identity information. But before he can even make a move, the man storms in with a group of fellow workers. These are all people who were off duty when the crime occurred. The captain takes one look and feels completely helpless. He knows very well that the killer cannot possibly be among these people, however you brought them here. The man is unwilling to give up just like this. He takes his apprentice to reenact the body disposal process. However, they still find absolutely nothing. Seeing his apprentice starting to back out, the man feels frustrated by his lack of ambition.
人喜欢回到他得意的地方。
Just then, a figure appears in the distance. As soon as he sees the master and apprentice, he bolts. This unusual behavior is highly suspicious. It instantly catches the man's attention. The two immediately rush forward and grab him. However, after interrogating him all the way, they find out he is just there to see the excitement. But the man still gets some useful clues. The victim appeared at the floodlit sports ground multiple times before her death. The man is extremely excited and rushes there, leaving his apprentice behind. Since it is his first time here, he does not know where to start.
你一个人来的呀？
The man shyly walks up to the stands and tries to ask around for some useful clues. But facing his questions, the woman just keeps smiling without saying a word. The man instantly catches her drift. After a brief interaction, the woman tells the man, "A strange man came here a while ago. He did not dance or talk, and just stood in a dark corner the entire time." Upon hearing this, the man immediately leaves his contact info, asking her to reach out the moment she sees him. Then he takes out some money as a reward, but the woman refuses it.
我不会这个。
At the annual employee recognition ceremony, the man takes the stage to give a speech as an outstanding employee. But as he is speaking, the machine on stage suddenly breaks down, triggering roars of laughter from his coworkers. The man shouts out his life declaration to live an amazing life. With high enthusiasm, he welcomes the arrival of the new century. After the ceremony ends, his coworkers celebrate with him. After a few drinks, a few coworkers speak up for him. They believe that with his ability, he can easily transfer to the detective team, and staying here is a total waste of his talent. The man looks completely indifferent.
鸡头凤尾分得清吗？
Although he says this, he has already made plans. This tragic incident is his chance for a promotion. Driven by the alcohol, the man goes to find the woman he saved before.
你以后去哪儿啊？
我想去香港，开一家理发店。你没有目标吗？
我现在挺好。
就一点愿望都没有啊？
The man stammers and feels too embarrassed to say it out loud. The next morning, another tragic incident occurs around the factory area. It is the exact same modus operandi. By the time the man receives the news and rushes over, the captain already leaves the scene. He eagerly approaches the vice captain to ask for information, but he gets dismissed.
你记着啊，以后守点规矩，别没大没小，要知道自己是什么。
Before the man can snap out of it, the deputy captain impatiently rolls up the car window. This is a huge blow to the man. He even loses interest in his favorite hobby of fishing. Just then, his apprentice's way of fishing suddenly gives him an idea. The man hurries to the crime scene. He throws a ring of keys on the ground. He takes 2 photos of the surrounding area. Then he makes a lost and found notice and posts it at the factory entrance, quietly waiting for the killer to show up. If it is not at one factory, he goes to a second one. To crack the case, the man goes all out.
咱都出来3天了，单位那边不好交代啊。跟我怕什么呀？这要能找到线索，别说3天，30天都值。
The master and apprentice watch for another full day. Just when the apprentice wants to give up, a suspicious person appears. The man immediately closes in cautiously. But just then, the apprentice accidentally sets off the alarm. Hearing the noise, the suspect bolts. The master and apprentice chase right after him. But being unfamiliar with the terrain, they keep getting left behind. Trying to take a shortcut, the apprentice accidentally grabs a live wire. Seeing the apprentice sit back up, the man rushes off to chase the killer, completely unaware that this will trigger a major disaster. During the subsequent chase, the man fights with the killer several times. But each time, the killer gets the upper hand and escapes. By the time the man climbs up the hill, the killer is already nowhere to be seen. Only a single truck sits abandoned on the road. But the man does not go forward to check, which becomes the single biggest regret of the rest of his life. On the way back, the man picks up a shoe dropped by the killer. But on the way to deliver the evidence, the apprentice tells him a cruel truth. Their co-workers actually work hand in glove with outside thieves to steal and resell factory materials. And the only reason they stood up for him before was to get him to leave quickly so he stays out of their way. The man is absolutely furious. The man does not notice at all that the apprentice's confession sounds like last words. By the time he realizes something is wrong, the apprentice is already completely still. Due to a fatal internal brain injury, he shows no signs of life.
我们已经尽力了，如果早一点送来，可能会好一点。
That night, the man goes to the woman's place to seek comfort. The scars on the woman's face catch his attention.
脸又怎么了？
However, the woman is unwilling to talk about it. As he watches the woman putting on makeup, a terrifying plan suddenly comes to his mind. He asks for the photo hanging on the wall. The woman hesitates at first, but seeing the man's disappointed expression, she still takes down the picture frame. However, right at this moment, there is a knock on the door. The boss calls her out to work. The man finds it hard to believe that the woman is actually a working girl. Whether out of guilt or for his secret plan, the man buys a hair salon for the woman. The woman is deeply moved, thinking she has found true love. When night falls, the woman silently closes the shop door. She turns on the music on the tape recorder. Looking at the man sitting there blankly, she gives a meaningful smile. Then she pulls the man up. The woman is very forward, and her every move is full of romantic hints. Finally, she holds the man tightly in her arms, breathing heavily against his neck. But to her surprise, the man actually rejects her and leaves after making a random excuse. But in fact, he does not go back to the factory, instead walking into a restaurant across the street, because from here, he can keep an eye on her every move. But before he can find the killer, bad news arrives first. The factory suddenly starts mass layoffs, cutting hundreds of workers across the board, and the man is one of them. Right now, he is completely desperate. Without his job as security captain, his dream of joining the detective team is completely shattered. He takes his luggage and returns to the hair salon. Compared to his disappointment, she sees this as an opportunity to start over.
这样也好，可以重新开始。反正我们有这个小店了，一切都会好起来的。
The woman deeply longs for a beautiful life ahead. But what she finds strange is that no matter how proactive she is, the man refuses to touch her. In the days that follow, the man never comes home and spends every day at the restaurant across the street. Until one day, the man finally spots a suspicious figure. He sees the man constantly loitering and looking around outside the hair salon. Until there are no pedestrians on the street, the man finally walks into the hair salon. The man stares closely at their every move. When he sees the sneaky way the man leaves, he is instantly filled with motivation. Early the next morning, the man gets the files from his coworker. He finds the man's information at a single glance.
百街32号，自然厂交汇处这条小街上，他就住那儿。这小子被拘过，猥亵过女人。
The suspect becomes more and more suspicious. According to the address on the file, the man goes to the suspect's hardware store. When he sees all kinds of knives displayed on the counter, he becomes even more certain of his suspicion. At night, the man continues to stake out from the restaurant. After the suspect leaves, he follows closely behind. Unexpectedly, he is accidentally spotted by the woman. The man tracks him for several blocks, but but still loses him. Suddenly, the man thinks of a possibility. He hurries back to the hair salon, but the woman is already gone. Just as he is about to go out and look for her, the woman appears right in front of him. Seeing that the woman is safe, the man rushes to the sports ground without stop. But he has no idea that his unusual behavior already arouses the woman's suspicion. The man pulls out the suspect's photo to ask if he is the suspicious guy mentioned before. Unexpectedly, the woman freezes for a moment and then bursts out laughing. She noticed it was his first time here back then and assumed looking for someone was just an excuse to flirt. Everything she said was just for fun, and she never expected that he was actually looking for someone. Seeing his only clue hit a dead end, the man decides to go all in. He walks straight up to the suspect and pulls out the work shoe. Looking at the fierce man, the suspect obediently puts on the shoe. Just as the man thinks, the shoe fits perfectly. But the suspect's next words leave him speechless. Meanwhile, to clear her doubts, the woman searches through the man's luggage. However, except for some daily necessities inside, there is nothing suspicious. Just then, a notebook catches her attention. She is very curious about what a security guard would write down, but the contents cause her to break out in a cold sweat. The man documents every tragic incident in detail, along with the clues discovered during the investigation. And when she sees her own photo, the woman covers her mouth in disbelief. She never expects that the man being with her actually serves another purpose. When the man returns, the woman sits directly on his lap. Right now, she only wants to know whether the man truly loves her. Looking at the silent man, the woman has her answer. She sadly turns the man's head, and when she sees that photo, he knows the woman already knows everything. In despair, the woman takes the man to a bridge. The man tries to stop her, but the woman directly chooses a fatal exit. The roaring of the train and the blinding bloodstains on the tracks completely break the man at this moment. He blames all of this on the suspect. If it weren't to catch him, his apprentice and the woman would not have died. Arriving at the scene, the man tries to force out the truth. But the suspect refuses to confess. The man can no longer hold back, crazily venting his inner anger. Two passers-by are so terrified they bolt. Seeing that the suspect is no longer moving, the man finally stops. He stands there, proudly straightening his body, as if welcoming his transfer notice. Soon after, the captain receives the news and rushes over. Although the suspect does not die, he is beaten into a permanently incapacitated state, and he has absolutely nothing to do with the tragic incidents. The captain does not understand the man's purpose for doing this.
我们在其中一名受害者身上还发现了凶手遗留下来的血液信息。你这么做究竟是为了什么呀？
The man freezes in place at first, and then completely breaks down. In the end, he is sentenced to 11 years for intentional assault. After being released from prison, the man goes to a nursing home. By this time, the captain is already suffering from Alzheimer's disease. When he is lucid, he leaves a letter for the man. It mentions a key figure in solving the tragic incident. Following the address in the letter, the man finds the only eyewitness from back then. The man is a truck driver. He is making a delivery on the day of the crime. But due to the heavy rain affecting his vision, he accidentally hits someone. The man is terrified at the time. He wants to get out of the truck to check the situation. Unexpectedly, a person appears on the hillside, and this person is exactly the man. But he has no idea that the killer is actually pinned under the truck. After the man leaves, the driver hurriedly gets out to check. To his surprise, the killer is actually alive. He struggles to stand up and prepares to leave. But before he can even take 2 steps, he is struck down by a speeding truck. He dies under the wheels. The 2 drivers want to follow the normal compensation process, but no one ever comes to claim the body. Later, an autopsy reveals that the man is the killer from the tragic incidents. Hearing this, the man sits there blankly, unable to snap out of it for a long time. It turns out he is so close to his dream at that moment. After saying goodbye to the man, he goes straight back to the factory. Just like he says, people love to return to the place they are proud of. This is where he wins the Model Worker Award, and it is also the most glorious moment of his life. Facing the old man trying to kick him out, the man brings up his pride, saying he was a model worker during his time in the security department. But the old gatekeeper tells him that there was no model worker selection at all in 1997. The old man's words hit like a bolt from the blue, leaving his mind completely blank as he flashes back to the scene of himself receiving the award. This time, he notices the slogan next to it, stating that time is money and efficiency is life. The old man is right. The factory would never give the Model Worker Award to the security department. Only during that special period in 1997 does management make an exception to give them a dreamlike experience. Because back then, absolutely nobody cares about who the model worker is. The only thing they care about is their way out after being laid off. That is why the old gatekeeper has absolutely no memory of the employee recognition ceremony in 1997. Looking at the factory area turn to dust, the man suddenly wakes up to reality at this moment. It turns out he has always been the redundant one. At the end of the film, the man boards a long-distance bus preparing to leave. Sitting all around him are his former co-workers. Just like this malfunctioning bus, they can only watch the heavy snow fall, getting buried in the blizzard of the 1990s. Right then, a familiar, cheerful song plays inside the bus. In 2008, the overall progress of building a prosperous society takes another major step forward. Just like the old saying goes, clear skies follow a blizzard, bringing the hope of a bountiful harvest.